It was a quiet evening on the outskirts of Alpha Centauri Station 9, a bustling hub for intergalactic travelers. Neon lights flickered against the smoky haze of the rusty nebula, a dive bar known across star systems as the place where species from every corner of the universe came to drink, argue, and occasionally brawl. The bartender, an ancient quarrel with 6 arms perpetually polishing glasses, had seen it all, or so he thought. Among the usual crowd that night were 3 Zenthari, explorers, their translucent bodies shimmering faintly under the dim lighting. They weren't just tourists. They were anthropologists sent by the Galactic Council to study Earth's most peculiar inhabitants, humans. To them, humanity was an enigma wrapped in chaos, a species capable of creating breathtaking art while simultaneously destroying entire ecosystems. But what baffled the Zenthari most was human irrationality. Why would such intelligent beings engage in acts of self-destruction? Why did they laugh at things that made no logical sense? And why, oh why, did they insist on fighting over trivial matters like sports teams or spilled drinks? The Zenthari trio sat quietly in a corner booth, observing the scene before them. Their leader, Vrank, adjusted his translator collar and whispered into his recorder device. Humans appear to be engaging in ritualistic bonding through excessive alcohol consumption, he noted clinically. His companions nodded solemnly, jotting down observations about body language and vocal patterns. What none of them realized was that tonight, their careful detachment would crumble faster than a supernova collapsing into a black hole. The spark that lit the fuse. At the far end of the bar, a group of miners from Tau Ceti 4, burly, 4-armed brutes called Graxons, were loudly celebrating their latest haul of rare minerals. One of them, clearly drunk, slammed his tankard onto the counter, spilling frothy blue ale everywhere. Unfortunately for him, some of it landed on a human sitting nearby, a wiry woman named Jessa with fiery red hair and tattoos snaking up her arms. "Hey!" she snapped, whipping around to face the offender. "Watch it, ugly!" The Graxon blinked, his multiple eyes confused but not yet angry. "Ugly? What does this mean?" "It means you're ugly," another human chimed in, slapping Jessa on the back. This was Kyle, her best friend since childhood and someone who never missed an opportunity to escalate a situation. He grinned wickedly at the alien. "And clumsy, too." The Graxon growled low in his throat, flexing his massive arms. "You insult me? On my victory day?" "Oh, relax," Jessa said, rolling her eyes. "We're just messing with you. Lighten up, big guy." But the damage was done. Another Graxon stood up, glaring at the humans. "No one mocks us in public. Prepare to fight." Jessa raised an eyebrow, unfazed. "Bring it on, space gorilla." And just like that, the first punch was thrown. When chaos becomes contagious, fights in the rusty nebula were legendary, often involving dozens, if not hundreds, of participants. Within seconds, the entire bar erupted into pandemonium. Humans tackled Graxons, who retaliated by tossing chairs across the room. A Xylorian merchant tried to flee, but got caught in the crossfire, accidentally knocking over a tray of flaming cocktails. Flames licked the ceiling, adding a surreal backdrop to the melee. Vrank and his team watched in horror as the chaos unfolded. "This behavior is illogical," Vrank stammered, clutching his recorder tightly. "Why are they doing this? There's no clear purpose." His colleague, Trelk, pointed toward Jessa and Kyle, who were now using pool cues as makeshift weapons. "Look, they seem exhilarated. Could this be some form of entertainment?" Before Vrank could respond, a stray bottle sailed through the air and shattered against their table. Green liquid splashed across their shimmering forms, eliciting a collective gasp from the Zenthari. "This is unacceptable," Vrank declared, standing up. "We must intervene." Trelk hesitated. "Are you sure? These humans are unpredictable. I am certain, Vrenk said firmly. As representatives of the Galactic Council, it is our duty to restore order. With that, the three Zenthari stepped into the fray. Humanity's most peculiar lesson. To say the Zenthari underestimated humans would be an understatement. As soon as Vrenk approached Jessa, attempting to reason with her, she turned and delivered a swift kick to his midsection. Being composed mostly of energy, Vrenk didn't feel pain in the traditional sense, but the shock of the attack caused his form to flicker violently. "What the?" Jessa exclaimed, momentarily stunned. Then she grinned. "Okay, glowing dude, you want to dance? Let's go." Kyle joined in, swinging his pool cue like a baseball bat. Trelk tried to shield Vrenk, only to get blindsided by a flying chair. The third Zenthari, Larn, attempted to retreat but tripped over a fallen Graxen and landed flat on his back. By now, the entire bar had noticed the newcomers. Some laughed, others cheered, and a few even started chanting, "Aliens! Aliens!" It was as if the presence of extraterrestrial beings only fueled the madness further. For the first time in their lives, the Zenthari felt truly overwhelmed. Logic failed them here. There was no reasoning with these creatures. Yet, amid the chaos, something unexpected happened. As Jessa dodged a blow from a Graxen and high-fived Kyle, Vrenk found himself intrigued. There was camaraderie in their actions, a strange kind of unity born out of shared absurdity. When the fight finally subsided, thanks to the arrival of station security, the Zenthari emerged battered but enlightened. Vrenk looked at Jessa, who was nursing a bruised arm but still grinning ear to ear. "You're insane," he said, shaking his head. She winked at him. "Yeah, but admit it. You had fun." Vrenk didn't answer, but deep down he knew she was right. Humans might have been irrational, reckless, and utterly baffling, but they were also alive in ways the Zenthari had never considered. And perhaps, just perhaps, there was wisdom in embracing a little chaos once in a while. Epilogue. A new perspective. Back on their ship, the Zenthari filed their report to the Galactic Council. Instead of condemning humanity's erratic behavior, they highlighted its complexity. "Humans may lack logic," Vrenk wrote, "but they possess something equally valuable: passion. Through their fights, laughter, and camaraderie, they find connection in ways we cannot fully comprehend." The Council wasn't convinced, but Vrenk didn't care. For the first time, he understood why humans fascinated him so much. They were flawed, yes, but in those flaws lay a beauty unlike anything else in the galaxy. And so as the stars twinkled outside their viewport, the Zenthari made a silent vow. Next time they visited Earth, they'd bring reinforcements, and maybe a stronger translator collar. Because if there was one thing they'd learned that night, it was this: never pick a bar fight with a human unless you're ready to lose yourself in the process.